Hey, what's up, everybody? And it's been quite a little while since I've done a video, mainly because I've had school and holidays and other things like that going on. But now Christmas is over and school is over, so I'm going to be out of school until January 23rd. So I have a lot of time to catch up on um, all of the WWE content that I've been missing, and hopefully I can, consistently watch the next few WWE content and stuff like that. So I'm going to start off with this video. This is going to be my reviews for NXT UK episodes 9 and 10 for November 21st, 2018, because it's been a while since I've watched NXT UK for obviously the reasons I mentioned before with school and holidays and other things going on. The last episode I actually watched was, obviously it was released on November 14th, 2018. And since I have a lot of WWE content I'm going to catch up on, and NXT UK, since usually 2 episodes per week are released, how this was work, what this will work is I'll typically review 2 episodes per video until I actually catch up, and they will both be the same date on which they were released. So since this one was released on November 21st, 2018, or should I say these two, um, I'm going to review these 2 episodes um, in one video. So let's get right into it. I'm really excited about this. Now, I don't know if this had already been announced prior to these episodes have aired, but I'll go ahead and mention it real quick. Um, Coming up on January 12th, 2019, airing will be NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, which I'm really excited about. Um, I don't know the match card or anything like that yet, but obviously, as I watch these next few episodes, I'll obviously know the match card. But I'm really excited about this because obviously I've really enjoyed NXT UK since it's aired. Um, and I'm really excited about NXT UK Takeover Blackpool. Obviously, this is where the NXT UK division started, was in Liverpool. So I'm really excited about this show. Um, I'm pretty surprised though, just because NXT UK just started not that long ago. It started in October that they're already doing a takeover, but I'm really excited about this. Um, I think we're gonna get a lot of great matches with, just because the NXT UK roster is just really stacked and stuff like that, so it'll be interesting. But I'm really excited about it. You're going to see a lot of great matchups and things like that, and I think it will be a really cool atmosphere. So now that I've kind of covered that, let's talk about episode 9 of NXT UK. So how this will work is I'll watch each episode and then review it, and then obviously end the video. So now that I've gone through all that, let's get right into the video, or the review, I should say. Okay, so starting off with episode 9, which aired on November 21st, 2018, which is obvious because I just said that in the beginning of the video, but whatever. We had Nigel McGuinness and Vic Joseph on commentary for this show, and we had the first match on the show. It was an inaugural NXT UK Women's Championship Tournament quarterfinals match, Xia Brookside versus Rhea Ripley, and I thought this was a good opening matchup here. Rhea Ripley pretty much dominated Xia Brookside throughout this matchup, which I thought was a nice touch because Rhea Ripley is supposed to be like this dominant woman who just absolutely destroys everybody. So I thought it made sense for her to go out there and pretty much absolutely destroy Xia Brookside. Plus, this could be utilized for a very good storyline with Xia Brookside, where she's like the underdog baby face who continuously gets beaten down, but always keeps coming back. So I like it. She had a really cool suplex on Brookside, but Brookside made little comebacks, hit a really cool knee to the head, hit a really cool double knees into the corner, but then tried to go for a crossbody, but Rhea Ripley counters into the Riptide for the win, and she advances into the semifinals of the inaugural NXT UK Women's Championship tournament, which I'm really enjoying this tournament so far. I have a feeling though, like once you get to like the semifinals and the finals, the matches will get better. But this is how you do a first round tournament matchup. The first round, aren't anything fancy. It's just kind of get in there and do your moves, and yeah, this is pretty much how you do the first round. So I like this match. I thought it was good, and I thought Rhea Ripley looked really strong. I especially like the trash talking she did to Xia Brookside after she won the match, saying to run away and cry to her dad and stuff like that. I thought that was a nice touch. Then you had then next we had James Drake and Zach Gibson gets interviewed, and they get asked why James Drake has helped Zach Gibson in his match, and Zach Gibson says he didn't do this to try to win him over or anything. He did this because they're friends, and they're going to utilize this friendship to become the first ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Um, and they're going to pretty much take over NXT UK. I thought it was a really good promo, though. Zach Gibson is awesome on the mic, so I thought this was a really good promo. Then we had Jack Stars versus Eddie Dennis, and Eddie Dennis pretty much destroys Jack Stars. He ends up hitting a Razor's Edge buckle bomb on him, which looked really cool, and then he ends up hitting the um, reverse neck breaker on him for the win. And Eddie Dennis just looked really strong in this matchup, and I thought he looks awesome. He's really big and stuff too, and he's just really dominant. And I love Eddie Dennis, so I thought this was a really nice enhancement match. Um, then we had Mark Andrews versus Mike Hitchman. I thought this was a really good match. Not my favorite match of the night, but a really good match. Mark Andrews gets the upper hand throughout the matchup by hitting head scissors and such onto Mike Hitchman. He goes for a moonsault on the outside, but Mike Hitchman gets the advantage and attacks him on the apron. And he ends up hitting a back senton onto Mark Andrews right on the apron, which I thought was awesome. And then he hits another one in the ring right across Mark Andrews' back, which that was also awesome. And Mike Hitchman dominates Mark Andrews for a while, and then Mark Andrews starts to mount a comeback. He hits a really cool springboard double knees right onto Mike Hitchman. He hits a really cool flip dive on the outside. I thought it was some really nice stuff. And Mike Hitchman eventually yet again gets the upper hand, but he ends up missing a splash off the top turnbuckle, and Mark Andrews tries to take advantage, but Mike Hitchman ends up hitting a wicked clothesline on him. He goes for a suplex, and Mark Andrews counters into the Stun Dog Millionaire, and then he hits a shooting star press, which he doesn't really get all of, but it was enough for him to get the victory. There was a little bit of a box in this matchup, now that I remember, where Mark Andrews tried to hit a moonsault on the outside onto Mike Hitchman, but I think because Mike Hitchman is a little bit bigger and just wider than Mark Andrews, he didn't really get the full impact of the move, but I still thought that it was but I still thought this was a really good match, and I like the fact that Mark Andrews won because I like Mark Andrews. But I really enjoyed Mike Hitchman, though. He's had some really good matches since he's come to NXT UK, and I hope they give him a nice little push eventually because I really like Mike Hitchman. And then Eddie Dennis gets interviewed, and he talks about how he absolutely has been destroying his opponents in NXT UK, but he didn't bust his ass training to become a wrestler to have competition like that. And then Ashton Smith comes up to him, and he said that he saw his match, and he said that he was not that impressed because if that was him, none of that would have happened to him. And Eddie Dennis gets upset that he touched him, and this continues the feud. But I like this feud. I thought I think this is a nice little feud for them to have. It's kind of like what I can do better than you type of thing. But I still really like this feud. And then we had the final quarterfinals match in the inaugural NXT UK Women's Championship Tournament. Isla Dawn versus Toni Storm. I do gotta say, I love Isla Dawn's entrance. I think this was her first actual match in NXT UK because I know she had a match in the Mae Young Classics this year, but I don't know but I believe this was her first match in NXT UK, but I could be mistaken. But I thought this was a pretty good match. Isla Dawn gets the advantage early with a wicked drop kick right onto Toni Storm, and she pretty much is continuously one step ahead of Toni Storm throughout the rest of the match. Anytime Toni Storm would try to mount any type of offense, Isla Dawn would immediately cut her off with a pump kick or a pump knee or something like that. I still thought it was some really nice stuff. And then Toni Storm mounts a comeback and goes off on Isla Dawn, hits a really nice splash into the corner, hits a really nice hip attack into the corner, and then eventually she hits a German suplex into into the Storm Zero for the win, which is pretty much the power bomb. And she advances into the semifinals, and now the semifinals is set. I actually have the semifinals because I took a picture of it on my phone. It's going to be Dakota Kai versus Rhea Ripley, which I think that match will be really awesome because they're both really good wrestlers. And Ginny versus Toni Storm. I think that match will be really good. I think Ginny had a good first round match in the tournament, and she had a pretty impressive showing in the Mae Young Classic. And obviously, Toni Storm's really good, so I think the match could be really good as well. So I'm actually looking forward to the semifinal matchups in the NXT UK Women's Championship tournament. Both Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm did promos on their opponents, where Rhea Ripley talk about how she's going to dominate the division and lay out everybody in the middle of it. And Toni Storm said that she has experience winning tournaments since she won the Mae Young Classic, and says that she's going to make sure that Jenny doesn't leave with any gold. And I thought they did some really nice promos afterwards, so I like that. But then we had the main event of the show, which I thought was the match of the night. It was Ligero versus Jordan Devlin. This was a great match. This is probably the best match that Jordan Devlin's had since he's come to WWE, and probably the best match that Ligero's had since he's come to WWE, because they've both been given the platforms. And I don't know why they didn't sign these guys to 205 Live, because they could have been some really nice additions to the cruiserweight division, but they still are really nice additions to NXT UK as well. And Ligero gets the upper hand throughout the match on Jordan Devlin by hitting some really nice head scissors, and he hit a really nice leg sweep into a moonsault right onto Jordan Devlin. But eventually, Jordan Devlin hits a I forget the name of it now. Oh, Yoanagi into a standard moonsault right onto Ligero, and Jordan Devlin dominates Ligero throughout the rest of the matchup. He hits some really nice, impressive moves on him, but then eventually Ligero gets the Ligero starts him out a comeback, and Mister gets the hot tag, but it's not a tag team match. And Ligero hit some really nice, impressive moves. Ligero hit a really cool moonsault right onto Jordan Devlin right on the outside. He went for the splash the first time, but Jordan Devlin countered with the knees of the gut and rolled him up, but Ligero kicked out of it. Jordan Devlin hit a really cool run and drop kick onto Ligero, and he hit a really sick Spanish fly on Ligero, but Ligero continuously kicked out of it. What else happened in this match? I mean, there's just so many things. Eventually, Ligero hit a really sick super German suplex off the top turnbuckle, and then eventually hit the splash, but Jordan Devlin kicked out of that. Jordan Devlin hit this really sick lift up quick back suplex right under Ligero that looked awesome, but Ligero somehow kicked out of that. But then eventually the finish comes when Ligero goes for a superplex off the steps, but Jordan Devlin dropped him face first on the steps, throws him into the apron, which Ligero hit a Hurricane on the outside as well. I forgot to mention that. And hits a really quick knee strike, and it hits I don't know what he calls it, but the fireman's carry into a power slam for the win. And Jordan Devlin beats Ligero, which I obviously was fine with because they've been pushing him a little bit more than Ligero. I personally kind of wanted Ligero to win because I like Ligero better, but I was fine with Jordan Devlin winning. And afterwards, he lays out the challenge to Pete Dunne, saying that he's on his way, implying that he wants his NXT UK championship, which I guess is the next logical step for Jordan Devlin to go. But that was pretty much the end of this episode of NXT UK. And I actually thought this was a really good episode. I enjoyed about everything on it. I really liked the two NXT UK Women's Championship tournament matches with the quarterfinals. I liked Zach Gibson's promo. I liked everything they did with Eddie Dennis on the show. I liked the match between Mike Hitchman and Mark Andrews. And I really enjoyed the main event. And I enjoyed that that's going to set up a future NXT UK championship match. So I really enjoyed this show. I'm going to give this show a B. I thought it was a really good episode. It wasn't quite a great episode, but I still thought it was a really good episode. And now that I've done that, I'm going to review episode 10. Okay, so now on to episode 10. Um, we had the same people on commentary, and this was released on the same date, so I'm just going to get right into this. So we had the first match. It was the inaugural NXT UK Women's Championship Tournament semifinals match, Dakota Kai versus Rhea Ripley, and this was a really good match to kick off the show. I really enjoyed this match. Dakota Kai uses her quick tactics to get the advantage throughout, but however, Rhea Ripley would utilize her power to get the advantage throughout in the beginning. She powered Dakota Kai onto the turnbuckles and like slapped her, giving her like a disrespectful slap. And Dakota Kai kicked her in the head and started going off on Rhea Ripley. She hit two running kicks right to the chest from the apron right onto Rhea Ripley, which was really cool. But then eventually Rhea Ripley throws her down face first on the floor, and Rhea Ripley pretty much just dominated Dakota Kai throughout the rest of the matchup. She hit a really cool suplex on her. She hit a really cool reverse Celtic cross on her, where she stands up and crosses her legs together instead of doing it like in reverse and sitting down, which was really awesome. Um, but then eventually Dakota Kai started to mount a comeback. She hit a ton of rights and left hands right onto Rhea Ripley and hit a wicked spin kick, nearly knocking out Rhea Ripley. She went to hit another kick from the apron, but Rhea Ripley countered and planted and picked Dakota Kai on the shoulders and planted her face first in the apron and put her in the ring, covered her, and Dakota Kai kicked out. Um, and Dakota Kai ended up hitting two running washes on Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley still kicked out. She went for the extricator. I forget the name of the move, but it's pretty much a code red into a backbreaker, but I always forget the name of it. But this time, um, Rhea Ripley counted it into a roll up, and they both started exchanging roll ups on each other. And eventually, Rhea Ripley out of nowhere um, pack hits the pretty much the power bomb for the win, and Rhea Ripley advances to the finals of the tournament, which I thought made sense since she's the dominant heel in the tournament. But I still really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really good. I even like the way the finish happens, where Rhea Ripley struggled to pick up Dakota Kai for the I forget the name of it off the top of my head. I just said it in the last portion of the review, but her finisher, just because it made sense since like Dakota Kai wasn't knocked out or anything, but I still thought this was a really good match. And then afterwards, she even talked about how she's proven that she deserves to be in the finals and said that she's going to dominate the NXT UK Women's Division and win and become the inaugural NXT UK Women's Champion. So I really like this. Then Sid Scala and Johnny Saint was backstage, and we find out that Johnny Saint has granted him an opportunity, and if he's cleared in 2 episodes, which is episode 12, he will get a match with Joe Coffey. Now, obviously, I expect Joe Coffey to absolutely destroy Sid Scala, so yeah, there's that. Then Jordan Devlin gets interviewed, and he said that he's been very impressive in NXT UK, and he thinks that he deserves an NXT UK championship match. Um, and that's exactly what he wants because he talks about how Pete Dunne hasn't beaten anybody credible for the title. Jordan Devlin's willing to do whatever it takes to become champion, and when he wins the NXT UK championship, he's going to rename it into um, NXT Ireland Future in UK, and that was it. I thought it was actually a good promo. I thought Jordan definitely cut a good promo here. And the match is official. Johnny Saint tweeted about it, which it's kind of funny that he tweets out his matches. I think that's really cool that he does that. I expect that, like, once NXT UK starts not to be taped, like, months in advance, he'll just announce the matches and stuff like that, but I still think it's funny that he just tweets out his matches. Then we had a tag team match, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster versus Saxon Huxley and Joseph Connors. I thought this was a good tag team match. Um, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster hit a lot of quick double team moves, taking out um, Saxon Huxley and Joseph Connors. They had like a really cool standard moonsault senton combination onto, I believe, Saxon Huxley, and then eventually they get the heat for a long time on Mark Andrews, and eventually Flash Morgan Webster gets the hot tag, and he had some really nice dives and hit a really cool like swanton bomb onto Saxon Huxley, and Saxon Huxley gets the advantage once again and just picks up Flash Morgan Webster and the Fabulous Kelly just drops him on the floor. And Joseph Connors is asking for a tag, but Saxon Huxley doesn't tag him in, which leads to their downfall because Flash Morgan Webster hits um, a running attack into the corner, and Mark Andrews hits a shooting star press for the win. And Joseph Connors isn't happy about this, so he brutalizes Saxon Huxley and lays him out with "Don't Look Down," and that was pretty much that. Um, and everybody chanted "Sinner" at Joseph Connors, which I liked. And yeah, I thought it was a good match. I'm actually alright with them breaking up this tag team though, because it was just a thrown together tag team anyways. And I think Joseph Connors can be doing bigger and better things than teaming up with Saxon Huxley. Um, so I actually kind of like this. I really hope this leads to bigger things for Joseph Connors because I really like him. Um, and then we had Dave Mastiff versus Tyson T-Bone. I thought this was a good big man match here. Tyson T-Bone uses his boxing skills to um, take out Dave Mastiff, and he dominates him for a long while. But then eventually Dave Mastiff gets him into a bear hug, and at first it doesn't work, and Tyson T-Bone reverses it into a roll up, but um, he's unable to get him into the roll up since Dave Mastiff's so big, and he ends up hitting sit it on him for the win. It's that old spot where the big guy goes to sit on the little guy and he misses, but instead he actually got him, which obviously I like because that never happens. So yeah, and Dave Mastiff started to get on a roll, and he ended up hitting the cannonball into the corner for the win. And Dave Mastiff wins. But I thought Tyson T-Bone looked really impressive. Um, I was pretty vocal when I made my appearance on NXT Party on NoDQ.com, which you should totally check out. And I think I said it on this channel, but maybe I didn't. I don't remember if I did or not. Um, that I wasn't a fan of his debut match in NXT UK, but I actually thought he looked pretty good here, and I liked it. He doesn't hit anything fancy, but what he was hitting was very impressive. And I like Dave Mastiff a lot. I think he benefits more from winning this match because I think I see bigger things for him than Tyson T-Bone. I kind of wish they would have waited a little bit longer to do this match, but I guess it is what it is. But I still like the match. Then we had the main event. It was the final semifinal match in the inaugural NXT UK Women's Championship tournament. Ginny versus Tony Storm. What I did like about these two matches is they did reference that the two competitors had history with each other, because obviously Dakota Kai and Rhea Ripley wrestled in the Mae Young Classic when Dakota Kai beat her in the second round, which I don't remember that at all. But and Ginny and Tony Storm wrestled in Progress Pro Wrestling. Ginny's actually, I don't know if she still is because this match aired like a little over a month ago. Um, was the current Progress champion, and she actually beat Tony Storm, who was the inaugural and longest reigning Progress champion. So I like that they mentioned that they had a history with each other. I kind of wish she would have come out with a championship, but maybe they can't do that type of stuff. Because I remember when Pete Dunne was, I think he was a champion somewhere else, and on like a WWE.com match that he came out with the championship. But maybe because it's airing on like WWE Network, they can't do that type of stuff. But I kind of wish they could. But I thought they had a really good match. This was my favorite match of the night. Um, and yeah, I really enjoyed this. Tony Storm gets a really cool, unique STF right under Ginny, and Tony Storm gets the advantage on Ginny throughout the matchup. But then eventually Ginny hits a um, sick arm drag right into the corner onto Toni Storm. And Ginny dominates the matchup for a while. She hits a lot of really aggressive moves right onto Toni Storm, really taking her out. And Toni Storm hits a headbutt that not only takes out Ginny, but takes out herself. And Toni Storm makes a comeback. She hits a sick German suplex onto Ginny and hits a hip attack into the corner. Um, she goes to hit a move off the second turnbuckle, but Ginny stops it from happening. And Ginny hits a drop kick like right to the knees of Toni Storm and hits a face buster right out of that position, which was really damn cool. And she tries to cover her, but Toni Storm kicks out. She goes for the whipcord heel kick, but Toni Storm ducks, but then she ends up hitting it anyways. And Ginny tries to make the cover, and she hooks the leg, but because Toni Storm is stronger than Ginny, she actually is still able to get her leg on the ropes, even though Ginny's hooking the leg, which I actually kind of thought was unique because you kind of never really see something like that. And I thought it made this match a lot really believable. But then eventually Toni Storm gets the win when she hits the German suplex into the um, Storm 2-0, which is um, the Tiger Bomb for the win. And Toni Storm advances into the finals. And afterwards, Johnny Saint, she goes up on the stage and looks at the title. Johnny Saint comes out and congratulates her, and she gets into a face-to-face confrontation with Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley pushes her, and Johnny Saint has to hold her back. And Toni Storm pretty much is psyched to become the first ever NXT UK Women's Champion when she was interviewed. And that was pretty much this week. Well, not this week's, but episode 10 of NXT UK. And I gotta say, I thought this episode was a really good episode. I enjoyed everything that was on this episode. I liked the two NXT UK Women's Championship matches. Um, I like the tag team match on the show. I like Dave Mastiff versus Tyson T-Bone, and I enjoyed the setup of the NXT UK Championship match, and that was pretty. And I enjoyed what they did with Sid Scala on this show. And what I really enjoyed about the show as well was that it did a really good job of setting up the next few episodes on the show. Because now in episode 10, well, episode 11, which is the next episode, we're gonna get the NXT UK Championship match between Pete Dunne and Jordan Devlin. And in episode 12, we're going to get Sid Scala versus Joe Coffey, which I'm looking forward to that match. Even though I expect it to be a squash, I like the storyline they're doing with Sid Scala, where they're making like an underdog type of storyline for him. And I expect that maybe at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, he'll get like his big win at some point. And I also we have the finals of the NXT UK Women's Championship tournament between Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm. Even though I only know who's gonna win that who's gonna win that match, I'm still really excited to see that match because I really like those competitors and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching the next two episodes, and I'm actually not gonna wait. After I edit this and upload the video and stuff, I'm going to watch the next two episodes and review them. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. But I didn't give this episode a letter grade. I'm also going to give this episode a B. I thought it was really good. If I had to say which episode maybe I enjoyed more, I might have said I enjoyed this episode a little bit more just because I liked the matches a little bit more on this episode and that they set up more angles on this episode. But you really could go either way with this episode because I really enjoyed the last episode as well. But you could really go either way. But yeah, this episode gets a B. And that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell. So that way every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM brothers and all the Talking 80 YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.